Mike here, welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. Boys, I'm glad you joined me today in the shop because I don't have a woodworking video today, surprise, surprise. I have a video about trying to do a little bit of work getting ready for winter. So let's go check that out. I have my shirt on in the shop here this morning, but it's not because it's cold here in the shop. No, sir. The heat pump is working great. I have the heat pump set at 10 degrees and it keeps the shop anywhere between, say, 12 and 13, which I find is ideal for working, even without a shirt. But I have this shirt on today because I'll be in and out of the shop. I think I'm going to be in and out of the shop a lot because today the project is trying to get the tractor ready for winter. It was cold out this morning when we woke up. It was something like -2 and there's a skiff of snow on the ground, so winter's not far away, right? So what I need to do in the next little while is get the tractor ready for winter work. And one of the main attachments I put on my tractor for the winter time is my plow. And if you remember last year, I made a video about adding some wings on my plow to help when I'm plowing the landing so they don't make windrows off the side of the blade as much. And I'll put a link to that video up here if you want to go watch that. But those wings, I had several versions of those wings, but I ended up with this version right here. This is a 1/4-inch plate steel. Put a ski on the bottom of it so it would slide across the terrain easier. But then I had this piece of pipe put on here to work, or to act as a brace between the front tip of the blade of the wing and the moldboard on the blade. This didn't work that great. It bent a lot, the wings flexed a lot, and in fact I also had this spacer that went between the edge of the wing here and the back side of the moldboard on the blade, and because this was flexing so much, this ended up cracking. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but there's a big crack in it right there. So I just had a nut and a bolt and then a pin through here to hold that spacer in place. Plus I had it secured with a couple of 1/4-inch lag bolts, right? So now this is free to come off, and I took those out of there. So you can see where this is cracked, damaged, right? It failed for sure. So I'm going to glue up, I'm going to get some 3/4-inch blanks of plywood, glue them up to make it this thickness. This thickness is important because I need it to go between the edge of the wing and the rib that's on the moldboard of the plow. I need to fill that in to make the wing as solid as I can. I had some suggestions last year when I was showing this failure to make this out of metal. Well, this wing is already heavy. I'm going to say probably getting close to 20 pounds. Not that that's a problem for the tractor, but it's a problem for me when it comes time to put it on the tractor. I don't like it to be heavy. If I made that out of metal, man, that would double the weight, I'm sure. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to remake this spacer, and I'm going to remake that out of plywood. I have some 3/4-inch scraps of 3/4-inch plywood. And I'm thinking I'll laminate some plywood together, glue it up, and then I'll trace this pattern out and recut it and form it. And that way I'll have a nice laminated piece here, and I'll make one for both wings. There's a wing on either side of the blade, and I'll make 2 of them, and I'm hoping that'll stand up better than just a piece of straight grade 2x4. That's what this spacer was made out of. All right, so that's one of the things I'm going to try and do today. The other thing is, this red piece of pipe here was a brace. It was meant to be a brace between the front tip of the wing and the moldboard on the blade. Well, that didn't work very good. This is very thin wall pipe, and the tip of the blade was moving with the force of the snow and whatnot plowing. That's why this spacer at the back broke. But also because it was moving, the reason it was moving was this brace here was too flimsy. So I'm going to try and make a new brace as well. I only have angle iron to work with, so I think I'm going to try and make it out of angle iron. So that's what the project is today. We're going to make a new brace, 2 new braces, and we're going to glue up and make 2 more spacers for the back. So the task at hand is I need to make 2 of these blanks, one for each side. They're identical, left and right, no difference between them. The first thing I did was I went to work and made a pattern of it, right? I had some Meranti flooring. This is 3/8 or 3/16 thick. And then I just I laid my blank on top of that, traced it all out, took it to my bandsaw and cut out this pattern. So now I have a pattern. What I was going to do is lay out like there's 1, there's 2, you know, I might be able to get 4 out of this piece of 3/4 ply here. However, I think it'd be more efficient if I could say get a hunk of wood that I can get 2 rough cut blanks out of, and then take those together before I take them to the bandsaw to cut them out. That way both of them will be closer to being identical. It'll be a lot less fussing and fitting to get them set up that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up here and draw this pattern on this piece of plywood like this. Because what I'm going to do is I want to say cross cut that here, cross cut that here, then place them both together and then cut this pattern on the bandsaw. I'm just going to mark that right there, and I'm going to mark that right there, and then I'm going to mark this right here, and then I can only get 3 out of this, so I need 4. So I have this other piece of kind of rough shod plywood here, and we're going to just mark that right there, and then we need another 1/4 inch piece. So I have some of this ranch wall siding left, so we're just going to cut this piece about, I'll rip that to make that in. Well, in fact, so I don't even have those grains in there, I might just rip it along that grain, that detail, and then back here. Okay, so I'm going to go cut these out and then set them all up to get ready to take them to the bandsaw, and then we'll check back with you. So there's my blank with the pattern on it, and I made another one like that with the pattern on it, and I ripped up my pieces. So now, because that pattern's at the bottom, as long as I set them all here with the ends flush and this side flush, then this pattern should transfer onto all of them. And you don't have to be right seriously dead on. I have some 1 3/4 inch screws that I can put through there. Should hold all 3 of them together. And I'm going to put those through the middle of the piece I'm saving. That way they'll always stay together even when I cut the excess off the edges, right? That's the plan. There's my set of blanks for one side, and that's the same thickness as my original blank. So we'll do the same with this one. Alright, so there's the second one. So now we're taking them to the bandsaw and we'll just cut this pattern out. So we're over here at the bandsaw, and man oh man, I've got everything piled around it, so it's something hard to get at it. But anyways, we're going to start cutting out these blanks, see how we make out. So that's the start. Well, there they are, both cut out. I have to take them to the sander now just to clean up the edges. Take the screws off of these now. And we'll put some glue on there. Alright, so that guy should go on there. When you're gluing up pieces like this, you know, like, then when it comes time to put them together, like I'm going to do here in a second, there's always the problem when you put the pieces together of them moving around, like I'll show you. Like if I try to put those together, and then when I squeeze down on them, see how they move around? A way around that, you can put salt. Just take a salt shaker, ordinary salt shaker, shake a little salt on it, and then when you put the pieces together, the salt will act sort of like sand and hold the pieces together, keep them from moving. And then because the glue is water-based, after a bit, it'll melt the salt and its salt will go away. So you know, that's an interesting, neat woodworking trick. Now I'm going to put these screws back in here just because the holes were already there and they should help line them up. Okay, and then I'm also going to put some clamps on them just because I have clamps. I like to show them off. So there's some more glue squeezed out there, but that should be just fine, I think. It's nice to see the glue squeeze out about equal all the way around the perimeter of the piece, and those edges feel pretty smooth together, so that should be all right. Set that aside, let that dry. Meanwhile, I'll take this one apart and glue it up. So there's my two spacer blocks laminated and glued up, and we just let those cure there, and they're going to be replacing this damaged spacer, and then I'm also going to replace the other one that's on the plow, because no doubt, because they're made of just plain 2x4 straight grain, no doubt the one that's on the blade now would end up breaking this winter. So, and I also made a pattern, so if I have to make more I can. The only thing left to do on these now though is I have to drill 2 holes here for the bolt and the pin, but I won't do that until I get these finished. And you know what, I think I'm going to end up painting them. It seems like every project I do now I end up having to paint, and I hate painting. But yeah, I think this would last a lot better if it was painted like I painted this one, so that's what I'll do. And then drill those 2 holes in there to locate them on the blade, and the left one is different from the right one just because when I laid out the holes on the blade I didn't pay enough attention to where I was putting them. I just drilled them, so I'm going to have to end up with a left and a right spacer block. But anyway, I think it'll be alright in the end, and once I get those painted they'll look good, I think. So thanks for watching, folks. Sure hope you enjoyed this little video. Now in the next part of this video, I'm sorry I'm making it into 2 parts, but in the next part I'm going to be working on the braces. I have to replace those red tube braces, so stay tuned for that one. Have a great week, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.